This week in games, FTC v Xbox finally gets resolved, Bungie has a lawsuit of their own against a harasser, Naughty Dog co-president Evan Wells steps down and retires, and could there be a Last of Us Part 2 remaster on the horizon? Tavin's not here, but this is the Two Penny Gamescast. Isn't that right, Rue? She says yes. What's poppin', players? It's me, it's Phil, not Tavin, here on the Two Penny Gamescast, where me and my good buddy Connor here, we come up with your favorite news stories of the week. Our 2 stories each, 2 pennies, if you will, and we give our 2 cents on them. This is episode number 156. Tavin could not be bothered to be here for the 3-year special. He's in Chicago or some shit. So it's just me and you, Connor. He's visiting family. What a fucking loser.
And it's been a week for news stories
tailored
to him.
It has been a week for specifically Tavin-centric news stories, which is kind of crazy. But of course, you can catch us here, usually live every Sunday, 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. Central, recording all of our podcasts. We're not going live this week just because, you know, Tavin's not here. We're on like a different... I guess you can call me the B team for Two Penny Games, or the Two Penny Gamescast at least. Because, yeah, Tavin's not here, so we're just recording, and then we're going to do the piggy bank right after. Just the 2-man. Remember when you guys did that without me? You know.
I do, yeah, and now it's turned around a little bit.
Yeah, that was a terrible episode. Terrible episode.
It was a great episode.
No, it was great. I listened to it. I liked y'all talking about the survival horror stuff. That was good. I liked it. Except for the parts where you were talking shit about me, but you know.
Well, now you can do the same thing this week since Tavin will not be joining us.
Which we already do when he's here.
We do. So now it'll be double the fun because he won't be able to fight back like he usually does.
It's true. Now we're talking behind his back, which is even better.
At least until tomorrow.
Talk behind your friends' backs, right? Just do it. You know?
It's morally right.
They don't need to know everything you say about them.
No. In fact, Phil, I don't tell everything I say about you to other people. I always insult you behind your back.
No, I believe it.
It's fine.
I constantly believe everybody's talking about me behind my back.
Healthy dose of paranoia.
I trust nobody.
Well,
not even myself.
That's an unhealthy dose of paranoia.
The only ones that I trust are my cats. That's all I trust.
Hell, don't become a cat guy. You can like cats.
I already have 2 of them.
You have 2 of them, but becoming a cat guy is very different from owning cats. Owning dogs is one thing because you have to go out and walk them and be active with them. Cats, they don't have that element, so you have to.
But I'm active with my cats. I play with them. I have a cat that loves to play. Fetch.
Really?
So my girlfriend leaves hair ties all around the house, and the cat will bring me a hair tie, and I'll fling it like you do like the rubber band gun. I'll fling it like a rubber band, and then she'll run off and grab it, and then bring it right back.
Is this is the younger one? I'm guessing.
Yes, this is the little one. Not fat one. Yes.
Yes, that's the other one. She's no longer a kitten, so now she's a full-grown cat.
She's a young cat. She's a little over a year old, so you know. But she did that even when she was like a little baby. She would chase hair ties. But anyway, you can also when you're watching this on YouTube, it's every 8 a.m. every Monday Central Time. You can catch us right at the beginning of the week, so we miss on all the weekly news that happened throughout the rest of the week, and then we'll catch it on the next Monday. Anyway, Connor, let's go ahead and get down to business here. We got a lot. We have some stories here. What a fucking crazy week for Tavin to miss.
It has been because finally,
exactly, war is over, Connor.
It's never been more over. At least for now, unless some weird act of God happens and things change. But we have our first story from here at The Verge. Should have seen this by Tom Warren. Microsoft wins FTC fight to buy Activision Blizzard.
It's true.
A California judge is allowing Microsoft to close its acquisition of Activision Blizzard after 5 days of grueling testimony. Microsoft still faces an ongoing antitrust case by the Federal Trade Commission, but Judge Jacqueline Scott Corley has listened to arguments from both the FTC and Microsoft and decided to deny the regulator's request for a preliminary injunction. In a ruling submitted today, Judge Corley said the following. Microsoft's acquisition of Activision has been described as the largest in tech history. It deserves scrutiny. That scrutiny has paid off. Microsoft has committed in writing, in public, and in court to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation for 10 years on parity with Xbox. It made an agreement with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty to Switch, and it entered several agreements to, for the first time, bring Activision's content to several cloud gaming services. This court's responsibility in this case is narrow. It is to decide if, notwithstanding these current circumstances, the merger should be halted, perhaps even terminated, pending the resolution of the FTC administrative action. For the reasons explained, the court finds the FTC has not shown a likelihood it will prevail on its claim this particular vertical merger in this specific industry may substantially lessen competition. To the contrary, the record evidence points to more consumer access to Call of Duty and other Activision content. The motion for a preliminary injunction is therefore denied. Judge Corley has clearly sided with Microsoft on its commitments to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation and even extend the game to Nintendo Switch. Despite the FTC challenging Microsoft's cloud agreements, Judge Corley took them into consideration in her decision. The court ruling even agrees with Microsoft in theory about the Nintendo Switch being part of the console market, but also accepts the FTC can reasonably claim it's not. Judge Corley has also agreed with the FTC that the console market does not include PCs. In a statement following Judge Corley's decision, Microsoft's president Brad Smith said the company was grateful to the court in San Francisco for this quick and thorough decision and hope other jurisdictions will continue working towards a timely resolution. Xbox head Phil Spencer, a key witness in the trial, also tweeted a reaction. "We're grateful to the court for swiftly deciding in our favor. The evidence showed the Activision Blizzard deal is good for the industry, and the FTC's claims about console switching, multi-game subscription services, and cloud don't reflect the realities of the gaming market," said Spencer. Activision Blizzard has also reacted to the decision. "Our merger will benefit consumers and workers." Bobby Kotick, Activision's Blizzard's CEO, said,
"What a guy."
"It will enable competition rather than allow entrenched market leaders to continue to dominate our rapidly growing industry." In a statement, FTC spokesman Douglas Farrar said that FTC was still planning its next move. "We are disappointed in the outcome, given the clear threat this merger poses to an open competition in cloud gaming, subscription services, and consoles. In the coming days, we'll be announcing our next step to continue our fight to preserve competition and protect consumers," said Farrar. The judge's ruling now allows Microsoft to close its Activision Blizzard deal ahead of the July 18th deadline, but only if the company is willing to close around the UK or if the Competition and Markets Authority, CMA, is willing to negotiate some form of remedy. The UK regulator moved to block Microsoft's proposed acquisition in April, and Microsoft is currently appealing that decision with a hearing set to start on July 28th. MLEX reported last month that Microsoft was exploring options to close the deal despite the UK block, which in part spooked the FTC enough to request an injunction in the first place. The CMA also filed to try and delay Microsoft's appeal of its Activision Blizzard acquisition decision, with the request right in the middle of the FTC versus Microsoft hearing. The Competition Appeal Tribunal, CAT, shut that request down, as it would have pushed the appeal process from July to October, contrary to justice and fairness. Minutes after Judge Corley's decision, both the CMA and Microsoft have agreed to pause their legal battle in the UK to negotiate how the Activision Blizzard deal could be modified to address the CMA's cloud gaming concerns. The CAT will need to approve this pause, but it increasingly looks like all parties are willing to secure a remedy in the UK. European regulators gave the deal the go-ahead in May, so Microsoft could technically now close without the UK and without an injunction in the US preventing it. That's a complicated scenario, though, and it's clear Microsoft and the CMA are both hoping to avoid that. The FTC will now have the chance to appeal Judge Corley's decision ahead of 11:59 p.m. Pacific time on July 14th, but the regulator didn't appeal a court's decision permitting Meta to acquire Within, so it may abandon its case against Microsoft and Blizzard instead. If the court order stands, this would be the second major loss for FTC. Chair Lena Khan, as the head of the regulator, Khan has been chasing big tech companies ever since she was confirmed as the head of the agency in 2021.
Gotcha. So, does this go into the court denying FTC's last-ditch attempt to stop?
It does.
So is that where it goes into it right here? Where
it is
for the July 14th thing?
Yes. So another order from The Verge, Tom Warren. Court denies FTC's last-ditch attempt to stop Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard. The Federal Trade Commission has lost what may be its final attempt to block Microsoft from buying Activision Blizzard. It's the second loss for the FTC after a U.S. federal judge denied its request for a preliminary injunction earlier this week to block Microsoft from acquiring Activision Blizzard until the conclusion of a separate FTC administrative case. The FTC appealed the decision by Judge Jacqueline Scott Corley, and now the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has denied its request for emergency relief to prevent Microsoft from closing the deal until the result of the FTC's appeal is complete. Microsoft welcomed the denial late on Friday. We appreciate the Ninth Circuit's swift response denying the FTC's motion to further delay the deal. This brings us another step closer to the finish line in this marathon of global regulatory reviews, says Brad Smith, Vice Chair and President of Microsoft, in a statement to The Verge. This means Microsoft is now free to close its Activision Blizzard deal after a temporary restraining order, part of Judge Corley's order, expires at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time tonight. Microsoft has until July 18th to close its deal. Otherwise, it may need to renegotiate terms with Activision Blizzard, pay $3 billion in breakup fees if Activision wants to walk away, or simply let the deal deadline naturally extend if both parties are happy to.
Right.
Microsoft might...
Now, Connor, I don't think that this is... I think this is just over, right? Like, there's no way that this falls apart at this point, right? Like,
yeah,
it has to go through at this point. We've been talking we've been talking about this ad nauseum since, like, what, early last year, if not like even earlier.
It's been so many years.
It's been so long.
Deal was announced. Yeah,
so long.
The FTC has constantly tried to push back against it, obviously, and the fight seems to be over. Because the big thing is the CMA. I don't know how that's going to progress. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they're open to having some sort of deal. I don't know what form that's going to take at all, because I'm not really up on all the legal terms and how the law works entirely. So.
I mean, we've never claimed to be experts, even though, you know, we're experts on all things.
We are. At least we say we are. Or act like we are. But I don't see that coming into play, so it seems like it's all done. Unless, for some reason, Activision Blizzard decides to walk away, which I'd be surprised if they did after all this work. So
honestly, that would be the biggest, like slap in the face. Mm-hmm. Just like, oh yeah, no, we did all the shit. We made you go through jump through all these hoops with the FTC. Yeah, we're not feeling it anymore.
Damn,
we're backing out.
If that was what happened, it'd be the funniest thing in the world.
But I feel like that public opinion of Activision Blizzard would just go even further down the toilet.
Yeah, but you know, at the core of all this, this might not be the best for the gaming industry.
You don't think
obviously
so?
The judge, it might not be. I'm the judge because monopolies are not a good thing, and now because of this deal, Microsoft owns a lot of the gaming sphere.
Sure,
now, thankfully,
they do own a lot. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
I still think this is overall better for us as consumers.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we get the better management for Activision Blizzard, we get Xbox as a sect of, because from my end, Xbox to me seems like they've wanted to unite the gaming sphere for a while. It's just the other people that don't want to play ball. You know, but because to me that's always what they've been screaming for is the addition of crossplay, bringing everybody together as a gaming community, in order to, you know, kind of stop the console wars. Which I mean, sure, everyone wants a bigger piece of the pie, but I think at least in the past few years, Microsoft has seemed to be the most willing to play ball with anybody else, you know?
Yeah, this would be a different story if PlayStation was the one acquiring it.
Oh, for sure.
But the thing about Microsoft is they have in the past been oh, well, we don't know if we want to put the next Elder Scrolls game on PlayStation.
Right.
I'm assuming that also extends to Fallout as well. So they might just be kind of playing the game that they're saying, oh, we're going to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. We're not going to take that away, but just as a way to fight off any kind of shutdown of the deal. Yeah. And then after it goes through and they've acquired Activision Blizzard, they might come back and start showing their true colors. Which, as you said before, my whole takeaway from this is, though Microsoft, they might have some problems with how they manage their teams.
Sure.
It's not anything compared to what Activision Blizzard did to their employees.
Absolutely.
Which my main goal is my main thought has always been that they just won't have to be under their yoke anymore. Bobby Kotick and all those executives that allowed those horrible things to
there's a higher authority now, than Bobby Kotick, you know?
Yeah, a better authority. And Bobby Kotick, I think, was possibly leaving as well.
Oh, so no, I believe that is true. I remember hearing that. I think y'all actually reported that on that a while ago.
Yeah, I always get iffy on the details, I may mess something up, but sure. I'm pretty sure he was heading on his way out because he's so rich and has his grubby little hands, so many other industries.
So he's little pies.
Something else, exactly. But you always take these things with a grain of salt because you don't know how the market's going to be affected down the line.
We'll have to wait and see what happens in that regard. I think it's a good thing. Hopefully it is. Hopefully a lot of great things get churned out in terms of like games and like crossplay games, and like hopefully who knows, maybe they'll fix Overwatch. one can hope.
Well, I guess that is something that needs to be fixed. Yeah. But then again, I hope it fails. That's just me. It's Hater Connor.
Yeah, that's Hater Connor right there. That's Hater Connor right there. But we love Hater Connor. We love Hater Connor.
I love it too.
We also, of course, we have the Phil Spencer tweet that we kind of went into. It says we are pleased to announce that Microsoft and PlayStation have signed a binding agreement to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Following the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, we look forward to a future where players globally have more of a chance to play their favorite games. Which, just goes right into what I was saying. How Phil Spencer, especially like in Xbox, wants gamers to be united. Let me tell you right now. You have your marginalized groups, right? You have the LGBT. You have women, right? What's the most marginalized group, Connor? Gamers.
Depends where you are.
Gamers.
Oh, of course. Never mind. It doesn't depend where you are.
Gamers. Yeah, the glass ceiling will be broken for gamers, dude.
Well,
sorry, I was quoting a meme. It was from like an old like cartoon, like fucking. I think it was like one of those like Jet X cartoons or whatever, and it was like the most marginalized groups will rise up, especially the most marginalized group, gamers.
I don't know if that's even in the original thing. I hope it is.
Oh,
I'll pretend that I have no clue.
Real.
Oh, it might be. That's the thing. It's
okay. I hope
in the realm of
that's because that's hilarious.
Well,
speaking of lawsuits, Connor, let's go ahead and dive into your second thing here.
Yep, game companies are winning lawsuits here and there.
It's true.
So, PlayStation Lifestyle is where our next article comes from by Zarmana Khan. Bungie wins landmark lawsuit against Destiny player who harassed employees. Bungie has won a major lawsuit against a racist Destiny player who doxed and harassed its employees and their families. The developer had the book thrown at one Jesse James Comer, who now owes nearly $500,000 to Bungie after being found guilty of terrorizing employees at
That's a pretty
homes.
penny, Connor.
For just a normal guy, most likely, it very much is. Comer has also been barred from making any contact with Bungie employees going forward. Bungie's lawsuit against Destiny players sets new precedent. Catherine Tewson, who was part of the team that helped Bungie track down Comer, posted about the legal win on Twitter. According to the lawsuit, Comer left threatening voicemails for a Bungie employee who is not being named, uncovered their home address, and set up unwanted deliveries, and continued his harassment campaign against other employees, all because Bungie highlighted a black content creator on Twitter. Comer not only threatened to kill employees, but also left racist voice messages and demanded that Bungie release Destiny DLC in which players can kill black people. To execute his harassment... Damn, I didn't know it was this bad.
That's
Jesus.
so crazy.
Yeah, I know. To execute his harassment campaign, Comer used the Text Now anonymous phone service. Last August, a judge ordered Text Now to reveal Comer's identity, given his harrowing conduct. According to Tewson, Comer wasn't as bold in real life and decided to not show up in court. The judge recognized that his conduct wasn't merely online trolling or a prank, and ruled in favor of Bungie, setting a new example against the doxing and harassment culture that often plagues the gaming community online.
Right. That's right. Deserved. Yeah. This reminds me of to like a worse extent the guy that was like was he like pirating Nintendo games and like he still has to like pay Nintendo like from prison or something like for like the next 50 years basically.
His whole life.
Yeah.
It's an amount he'll never be able to cover.
Exactly. And that's what this is crazy to me. Like me personally in my working career, I'm not sure if I've surpassed $500,000.
No, neither have I. But the thing is that usually when you hear these kinds of stories, you can pretty, swiftly denounce it because game companies or any company as a whole can just screw over normal people and take ridiculous amounts of money from them, like the Nintendo thing, which I think, is ridiculous. And I think most people agree with that as well. But as the judge said, this wasn't just, trolling. This wasn't some innocuous thing that was being done that it would be way too harsh to fine him $500,000.
It was a legitimately hateful individual.
Yes, hateful and possibly dangerous.
Yes.
Thankfully, he does seem to just be, slinking into his little hole because he didn't even show up.
That's how it always works, though, right? Like it's always just some like faceless asshole.
Yeah, who thought he can get away with it.
They get bold on the internet.
And I wonder if this will, you know, I wonder how this will be used going in the future, because as it says, it does set a pretty, strong precedent of being allowed to sue people if they do take certain actions against gaming companies like this one. But
Sure.
I'm afraid it could happen in a lot less, egregious example. Something bad of some guy harassing or saying mean things to the. Or
Yeah,
doing
I mean, it's just the fact that this guy was so extreme.
Yes,
That's why I feel like the judge ruled in this way. That it was obvious that it wasn't just internet trolling, because this person was, you talk about unwanted deliveries. Sure, it was probably just like, oh, I didn't order this pizza, but like you told me you pay cash for, but it was I mean, it could have been something much worse.
It could have. It could have all of a sudden resulted in an attack of an employee or someone at the company. So, all in all, it's could have been worse.
I don't know. I think it's a good idea to go ahead and nip the idea that you can't just say whatever the fuck you want in threatening people online.
Mm-hmm.
To just go and nip that in the bud. I think. I don't know. I'm not cool with that.
Controversially, Phil, I agree with you. I think it's wrong to do these kinds of things, but that's just us. We might be wrong. This could just be a very understandable thing for someone to do. Not at all.
Understandable,
Yeah.
Fuck.
Doxing people. Well,
Jesus.
We won't have to hear from him anymore.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess from there we'll go ahead and dive into my first penny here. Naughty Dog's co-president, Evan Wells, is retiring, Connor.
Oh well.
Oh, Evan Wells.
I knew who this guy was before this.
Yeah. Says here, the following message was shared with Naughty Dog team earlier today. Today being, what day was this? Was this Saturday?
July 11th. So
earlier than
Tuesday.
That. Never mind. So it was this past Tuesday.
Oh damn, yeah. Damn, I didn't realize that.
I thought it was sooner. So this past Tuesday, after the 25 years, dogs. That's how we address these people, Naughty Dogs. After 25 years at Naughty Dog, I wanted to share with all of you that I've decided to retire at the end of this year. This is something that I've been discussing with Naughty Dog studio leadership team for well over a year, and with Neil for even longer than that. Neil Druckmann, of course, director extraordinaire of the Last of Us series. The decision brings with it overwhelming and conflicting emotions, but I've come to realize that I'm content with my time at the studio and all that we've accomplished together over the last 25 years. I couldn't be more confident in Neil's ability to carry on running the studio. It's the right time for me to provide the opportunity for him and the others on the studio leadership team to steer the studio into a successful future. I've been making games professionally for over 30 years, and Naughty Dog has been my home for over half my life. I've seen the studio grow from hire number 14, which was himself, during the Crash 3 days in 1998 to over 400 dogs today. Every major life milestone I can track with a Naughty Dog project. Every major life milestone I can track with a Naughty Dog project. I met my wife during Crash Team Racing. We took our honeymoon after shipping Jak 2. Goated game, Jak 2, incredible. Had our first child. Tavin would disagree, but he's not here to disagree. Had our first child E3 week when we announced Uncharted Drake's Fortune, and our second child was born right in the thick of development of The Last of Us. And there he is.
Evan Wells.
Working here has been awe-inspiring, and I have nothing but gratitude for everything that I've, been able to learn and be a part of. And getting to collaborate with the passionate and driven teams at SIE and the other PlayStation studios has been a pleasure. I've never taken for granted the opportunity I've had to be surrounded by such impressive creativity and talent, and I'm thankful to all past and present for teaching me so much. There's never a perfect time to step away, but I'm incredibly confident that I'll be leaving the studio in the best hands. Neil and the rest of the capable, dynamic studio leadership team are perfectly suited to ensure Naughty Dog continues to lead the industry, not only in the games we make, but the environment in which we make them. I am positive that Naughty Dog will continue to push the industry and our medium forward. Evan Wells, he's a gaming old head, He's been in the industry for a long time. Like you said, half his life, past 30 years, which is crazy.
I wonder if we'll ever see more of him. Maybe on the game development side, but seeing as how he's a vice president.
I don't know if we will, just because he said retired. You know, so I don't know if that just means from the company of Naughty Dog or just gaming and development entirely. But if it was my guess, I would say he's just done. Which I think I would want that too. I would want to just be done, just not have to worry about anything anymore. You know,
because this guy, he probably made tons and tons of money from the games that have released in those years.
For sure,
all the bonuses he's gotten.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't think his presence will really be of anything, to be missed, in the sense of him, adding anything to the games that are Naughty Dogs are making right now.
I don't want to be too reductive in saying that like he doesn't have any kind of input on the games, because like of course he has to have some kind of overseeing of something going on, like he has to have some kind of involvement in those things. So I don't want to be like, oh, he's a big wig, he has nothing to do with any of these things, because of course he has to. I remember there was a really good video where someone was talking about the Jack series, and whenever Evan Wells and it was some other person they were talking to people about the Jack series, and it was really good. There was also I don't think it's Evan Wells, but there was another like really good like developer like let's play thing for the Jack series, and it was really cool. But anyway, Neil Druckmann will of course be taking his place. How do you feel about that, Connor? Neil Druckmann, now the co-president of Naughty Dog.
Well, that's just that's just kind of I guess like okay, sure.
It's like who else is going to do it, right?
He's just going to get more money than he already gets, and he's already pretty, from my understanding, hands-on with game development. So maybe Evan Wells was as well. I mean, obviously Evan was long time working with Naughty Dog, kind of helped bring it up from where it was back all of those years ago. But I don't think we'll see really any change, regardless of who is in this position.
Sure. I don't think there's a whole lot that's going to change in terms of like the games we get, like in terms of quality. Like, of course, not to say that Evan didn't improve quality of these games, because, I mean, like I said earlier, you have to have some kind of input. But he's just like I have to assume he's just done. He's gonna spend time with his family, play games instead of make them. Do him.
Do what you usually do when you have millions of dollars, to retire at his age.
Exactly. He's got to be like what in his like maybe 50s. Let's see, how old is Evan Wells?
He looks pretty young in the photos.
Wells age.
Damn, will we even? I don't even think it's on the. It's not even. We don't even know when he was born. He worked on Gex, so maybe the last thing he did was get that remastered announced, because that's something that happened recently for all you Gex fans. I don't know who.
That is true. I'm not myself a Gex fan, but
I don't know. I cannot find this guy's age. He's an unknown.
I can't really tell. It's not information that's privy to us, I suppose.
No.
But Connor, speaking of Naughty Dog and other reasons that Tavin should be here, we possibly are getting a Last of Us Part 2 new edition, some kind of remaster or special edition for what we have to presume is just PlayStation 5, right?
Yeah.
So the Naughty Dog, the Last of Us composer, Gustavo Santaolalla, probably.
Santolala, I believe.
I know, but it's the double L, so I think it's Santaolalla has suggested that a new version of Part 2 is on the horizon. In an interview with Spanish site Blender, the composer alluded to an updated edition of Part 2 in which players will be able to interact with his character in Jackson. In the new editions, you can make me play certain themes. Santaolalla said of his banjo-playing cameo in the game. I love whenever composers do that. Like, I think Bear McCreary did it for God of War Ragnarok. He was the guy in the dwarf village who played the instrument, like that you had to talk to. That was him.
I remember that now. Yeah.
He showed up to, spoiler alert, he showed up to Brock's funeral.
Very sad.
However, the composer stopped short of revealing any more details, saying, "I can't tell you anything else. It is unclear which edition Santaolalla could be talking about." Excuse me. While The Last of Us Part 2 launched on PlayStation 4 in 2020, an update was made available for the PS5 soon after the console's release. The composer could be suggesting a native PlayStation 5 version or perhaps a PC port of the sequel is on the cards. Earlier this week, Naughty Dog co-president Evan Wells stated he will be sad not to see the studio's current projects to completion following his retirement, so it now seems likely this Part 2 edition is one such project. Eurogamer has asked Sony for further comment. Naughty Dog is currently working on its standalone Last of Us multiplayer game, while the studio promised we would hear more about its ambitious project sometime this year. In May, it was revealed that Naughty Dog had slowed down development after Destiny maker Bungie, which has been individually assessing Sony's many live service projects since it was acquired last year. There's a typo on here. Since it was acquired last year, raised concerns about The Last of Us multiplayer's ability to keep players engaged for a long period of time. So yeah, Last of Us Part 2 remaster is probably coming. Connor, how do you feel about that?
I feel like this is stupid as hell if it does happen. Naughty Dog, what they like to do with The Last of Us is milk it for all that it's worth.
Milk it dry.
Oh my god, just wring it out. Because Last of Us 1 had its release back in 2013, I believe.
2013.
Yeah, 2014 there was a remastered of that game. It's ridiculous, which I actually liked because I could play it on PS4. But beyond that, they did Last of Us Part 2, which was, obviously it had an update as well to PS5. Then they did Last of Us 1 remastered, which Tavin said it was very good, and it was, I think you believe it was like somewhat needed. I think he said.
Are you saying Last of Us Part 1, the one that was released last year?
Part 1, yes, okay. Part 1. Yeah, that's what it was called because now that they have both of them, they just split them up by part. And people were upset about that because it was like, it's not that old of a game. You don't need to remaster it. Make something else.
It felt kind of cash grabby.
And now this admittedly, we don't have tons of details on exactly what this is, so it could be something entirely different.
Sure.
It was never confirmed. But it makes sense that they just continue with the same trend and go with Last of Us Part 2, made solely for PS5 and PC. Which, PC being
as a fan of Naughty Dog as a game company, but not necessarily I like The Last of Us. I would not consider myself necessarily like a big fan, especially not to Tavin's level of The Last of Us. I myself wish they would focus more on some of their other projects at Naughty Dog, like Jak and Daxter, perhaps. This meme was shown on Twitter, and I retweeted it. I believe Tavin also retweeted it and said, "No, let them starve."
He did,
which was very rude. But it's the classic meme of the water pipeline where it's dripping into the very skinny person, and it has Jak and Daxter over them, but it's all flowing into the big fat cat in the chair with a suit on, and it's The Last of Us. So yeah, and the pipe just says Naughty Dog for those in the audio version of the podcast. Yeah, I'm not the happiest camper when it comes to all these stuff. Oh, it's more Last of Us. Oh, more Last of Us coming. Oh, where the hell is my Jak and Daxter love?
Well, Phil, they commented that it probably will never happen.
Yeah, which is a big fucking shame, but I can still believe.
Well, one thing I can believe in is that Last of Us 2 shouldn't get a remaster. It should at
least not for another 4 years,
Yeah.
Let us sit on it a little while,
all you need to do is port it to PC. I don't believe it is on PC.
Not even 4 years, 2 more years. The game let the game simmer for 5 years, and then you can remaster it. Come on.
Oh my god, don't do that to me. Okay, well, Last of Us. There we go. Yeah, no, Last of Us Part 2, so get on that instead of just doing a whole remastered thing. You don't have to do that.
People are saying that they're also working on Last of Us Part 3, which, I don't know. If Tavin were here, I think I've heard him say before he doesn't need Last of Us Part 3.
And I'm in agreement.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a lot of stuff going on in the Naughty Dog sphere, at least in terms of The Last of Us. Which, if you like The Last of Us, hey, good for you.
I'm still waiting on that multiplayer. That's all I care about as well.
Oh yeah, you want that factions thing? That's right.
Whatever it is, we still don't know.
People just assume it's Last of Us factions, but
yeah.
Who knows?
I don't.
Exactly. Wow, Connor, happy 3 years to the Two Penny Gamescast?
I drink a seltzer.
I drink my water.
Mm-hmm. We don't have any actual drinks to celebrate it with.
I do. They're in my fridge. I just don't feel like drinking right now. You know.
And you'd be doing it by yourself.
Man.
Well, I'm also a Naughty Dog man, and no, I'm not. Not that at all. I don't know what I was doing. Never mind.
Well, anyway, Connor, I think that is a wrap on this episode of the Two Penny Gamescast. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure... Oh, there's my cats. Look at them. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media handles in the description below. Please, we know we love to talk about games here on the Two Penny Gamescast. Tuning in every Monday at 8 a.m. Central for your weekly news roundups with Connor and Tavin. This week you get me because Tavin is a loser. But we love him. We have fun. We love Tavin.
Well, you do.
All right. Well, you've been friends with him longer than I have, so I guess you have more of a reason to not love him. Anyway, Connor, without any further ado, let's go ahead and say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye, people. I say this every week.